We spend our entire lives moving through and inhabiting buildings, yet most of us are functionally illiterate to the rules that govern them. We easily recognize the physical materials, the concrete, the glass, the steel, but we rarely see the invisible logic that dictates why one space feels serene while another feels abrasive. For over 30 years, Francis D.K. Ching's Architecture, Form, Space, and Order has served as the classic visual primer for this design vocabulary. Ching treats architecture as a matter of literacy. Just as a writer must master grammar and syntax before composing a novel, an architect must understand the basic elements of form and space before they can build anything meaningful. Mastering this spatial alphabet transforms you from a passive observer of shelter into an active reader of the environment. All form begins at a single point. When this point moves, it creates a line, the first dimension. If that line shifts, it becomes a two-dimensional plane. When planes intersect, they give rise to a three-dimensional body. But the act of enclosing a physical body does more than create an object. It simultaneously captures and organizes an empty spatial void. Ching calls this the unity of opposites. In architecture, physical mass and spatial voids are a symbiotic pair. You cannot define one without the other. This aligns with Lao Tzu's ancient observation that while we turn clay to make a vessel, the utility of that vessel depends entirely on the empty space inside it. Architectural form occurs at the exact juncture where solid mass and empty space intersect. Defining a single room is only the starting point. The real work of architecture is structuring multiple volumes to accommodate the complexity of human activity. Architects use specific organizations, like grids, linear paths, or centralized hubs, to bring order to a collection of rooms. In a radial organization, individual elements extend outward from a single, unified center, creating a clear focal point for the entire system. Clustered organizations take a different approach, grouping interconnected chambers based on their specific functions rather than a rigid geometric line. However, even the most meticulous structural patterns remain static until they are activated by human presence. We experience these organizations through circulation, the specific sequence of approach, entry, and the configuration of the paths we follow. These pathways are the vital mechanics that transform a static geometric arrangement into a living experience that unfolds across space and time. Simply stacking spatial volumes and connecting them with paths doesn't guarantee a coherent design. Without a governing logic, a collection of rooms remains a disjointed sequence. True architecture requires overarching ordering principles to ensure that every part of the building relates harmoniously to the whole. Designers establish this harmony through tools like axis, symmetry, hierarchy, and the rhythmic repetition of forms. By utilizing a clear axis and strict symmetry, a structure like the Pantheon immediately communicates its immense scale and cultural importance. Even in grand monuments, architects must incorporate human scale, ensuring that massive volumes still relate to the dimensions and reach of the human body. As Rudolf Arnheim notes, without fundamental order, a building is incapable of transmitting its intended message. Order is what allows us to tell what the work is trying to say. Mastering this vocabulary of form, space, and order allows you to recognize the timeless symphony hidden within the built environment.